Yo, what's up guys, it's Danny here, and today's video is going to be about why you don't need to impress people. And this video is going to be more for myself, and it's mostly because I struggle with this a lot, especially since I'm an adult now, and I kind of feel the same way about myself, that I feel lonely in the sense that I don't have a lot of friends. But I think that's mostly okay because sometimes you don't really need to have a big crowd in order to feel validated. Sometimes it's better to keep the small crowds, like a good chunk of 5 to 10 people, rather than 20 plus or more than that. That's just a trap, a performance trap. You got to think about, oh yeah, I got to get more relationships, I got to get more people to like me, I got to get people to like my post, like all this junk and nonsense. But then I realized that fame is unpredictable. You can lose it in an instant. For me, doing YouTube, I was always thinking that, oh yeah, people are gonna like me. The people are gonna like this post. No, in a sense, like, people don't care about you. That's the reality. People will lie to you. People will betray you. People will do something harmful for you, like harmful to you, without any hesitation. And it's mostly because we live in a society that can be very non-forgiving, right? But also there's also good people in a sense too, because the good always balances out the bad. So that's where justice comes in. But anyways, yeah, so I was always chasing validation in high school. I just wanted to reiterate that. It's mostly because I graduated, right? And so I didn't know any people. There were people that were going to, or were from previous middle schools that I didn't even know existed. So I was just like, all right, let me just make new friends. And so when I tried to make new friends, it worked. I mean, obviously I got some acquaintances going along, but I just found hospitality, and hospitality, what I think it is that we just got people to really talk to. That's it. So there's this one quote that I kind of read from Letters of the Stoic from Seneca, and he says, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." People who spend their whole life traveling abroad end up having plenty of places where they can find hospitality, but no real friendships. And this kind of resonate with me when in high school, because I didn't really have that much friends. Just forcing myself upon people just to say, yeah, man, let's just be friends. Like, let's be friends within a week or within a day. Like, it's that bad. I was very clingy. I was very desperate. I wanted to have a lot of clout, especially with my name, because, it always has to be Danny. Danny, Danny, Danny. Yo, Danny, dude? That guy looks cool. That guy is awesome. Did I really get that attention? No. In fact, it was the opposite. Everyone saw me as inferior. Everyone saw me like a nerd. Like, no one saw me like a real decent human being. And it's mostly because, again, people perceive people who are doing things that are neediness, right? Neediness, clinginess, and desperation leads to a negative perception of that person. And so I was that person. I was a person that was not authentic. I was just performing, putting on a mask, being just someone in someone's eyes, right? And so I didn't have a sense of my personal identity. I didn't build any type of sense of purpose or passion for myself. I was just impressing other people just to feel relieved that, okay, I am worthy, right? I had self-esteem issues. I was less confident of my looks, and that's why I use gaming as a sense of, I guess, empowerment. I wanted to be better than people in the sense that I can't be realistically powerful in reality. I was ignoring reality. I was ignoring myself, my everything, and so it kind of makes me wonder what could have happened if I actually stopped impressing other people. I would at least gain a sense of peace. I would probably be more happier in the sense that I don't really need to really find validation towards girls or guys. There's a lot of things I wish I could have done in my younger years, but time flies by when you're having fun, You're learning things, you're doing things to really discover yourself. And I wish I discovered myself more when I was young. But yeah, going back to Seneca's quote, to be everywhere is to be nowhere, uh, outside of relationships, it goes with social media. You don't need to consume everything you see. You don't need to overhear everyone's life. Sometimes you got to focus on yourself. So the reason why I say this is because I was putting more focus on my friendships rather than myself. Again, it comes from that validation, need of recognition, right? I would need people to acknowledge me. And that's my strong weakness about myself, is that I need people to say that, Danny, you're doing all right, man. You're doing okay. Like, you got this. And there's no internal self voice in myself that says, you're doing fine, man. Keep on going. And if you're listening to this, you're doing fine, guys. Like, you are doing much better than me, like, watching this video, because at least you kind of really get a glimpse of my experience on someone else's perspective, like understanding why you don't need to impress people. And I can really extrapolate that more, because when you're dealing with like a breakup, and you keep going on to relationships with other partners, friends, and trying to talk with friends, family, other this and that, it's not a solution. It becomes a problem even more, because now you're asking people to help you, but no one has a solution other than yourself. The only way to really patch yourself and heal yourself is through the internal voice of your head, by saying you are enough. And Seneca's solution in understanding how to not impress other people is first understanding what is essential. What is the specifics, particulars that you need in order to feel satisfied? And then second, what is enough to you, right? So again, his first quote was, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. So if you're gaining a lot of things at the same concurrent time, you won't able to get anywhere, because you're always patching yourself up with so many band-aids that the band-aids don't even work, because you don't ever give it time to really heal. And so you have to ask yourself, what is essential? Do you need this type of support? What type of support do you need? Emotional support? Is it physical support? You got to have specifics. And then second, understand what is enough. How many people do you need to impress in order to feel satisfied? And for me, in my personal life, this doesn't apply to you guys, but to really feel satisfied with myself is focusing and shifting my attention and energy to myself. I know it kind of sounds ironic, but it's true. Sometimes you got to really process and reflect yourself, like, hey, do you really need to impress people? How many people do you need to impress? Like 1,000,000? 1,000,000,000? Obviously, nobody except for yourself. And so having this mindset is critical, because it tells yourself that you need to be grounded. You need to be humble. You need to really lock in your life and understand that you're not doing this for yourself. I mean, you're not doing this for people. My bad, excuse me. But you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your sake of self-improvement. And so that's it for this video. I don't want to keep it too long. This is the advice that anyone needs in this world, is you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for others. You're not living for others. You're doing it for yourself. I know that sounds selfish, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it, man. Like, sometimes you gotta realize that relationships isn't everything. Friendships isn't the entire world. Yeah, it applies to a lot of things. I'm sorry, but anyways, yeah, that's it. I'm kind of tired for talking, but yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.